I'm going to tell you something that might make you angry. That car sitting in your driveway, the one you're still making payments on, just cost you your retirement. I've driven the same kinds of cars for 60 years. Even when I could afford to buy the dealership, hell, I could have bought the company that made the cars. But I didn't. And it's not because I'm cheap. It's because I understand something most people never learn. Every stupid purchase you make today is stealing from your future self. If you're financing a car right now, or if you traded in a perfectly good vehicle just because you wanted something newer, shinier, fancier, you need to hear this. Look, I get it. You work hard. You think you deserve something nice. Your neighbor just pulled up at a brand new SUV, and suddenly your 5-year-old sedan feels like a punishment. So you go to the dealership, they smile at you, run your credit, and tell you that for just $600 a month, you can drive off in your dream car. Here's what they don't tell you, that $600 a month for 6 years, that's $43,200, but it's worse than that. If you'd invested that same money in a decent index fund earning 10% annually, you have over $58,000 at the end of those 6 years. And if you left it alone for 30 years, that car just cost you $705,000 in future wealth. You think I'm exaggerating. I'm not. I've done this math 1,000 times. I've watched smart people, doctors, lawyers, engineers, destroy their financial futures one car payment at a time. And the crazy part, they think they're being responsible because they shopped around for a good interest rate. Now, I'm not telling you to drive a beater that breaks down every week. I'm not saying you need to suffer. What I'm saying is this: your ego is expensive, and feeding it will keep you poor forever. I learned this lesson early, and it's one of the main reasons I'm sitting on tens of billions of dollars,
while most Americans can't cover a $1,000 emergency. By the end of this video, you're going to understand 3 things. Why new cars are wealth destroyers, how I calculated the real cost of every vehicle I ever considered, and what you should do instead if you actually want to build financial security. This isn't theory. This is how I lived my life, and it's how I got rich. I stopped lighting money on fire. When I was in my 20s just starting out, I did the math on what happens the moment you drive a new car off the lot. You lose 10% to 20% of its value instantly. Not in a year, not in a month, instantly. It's like walking into a casino, putting $5,000 on the table, and lighting it on fire. Except, at least in a casino, you have a chance of winning. A $40,000 car loses $8,000 the second you own it. Then it loses another 15% to 25% every single year after that. By year 5, your $40,000 car is worth maybe $16,000 if you're lucky. You just transferred $24,000 to someone else for the privilege of saying you bought it new. I remember when I bought my first Cadillac, and yes, I eventually did buy one, but it wasn't new. I calculated what that car would cost me over 30 years if I invested the difference between a new one and a good used one. The number I came up with was over $3 million in lost compound growth. $3 million for what? So I can have that new car smell for a month? Practical takeaway: buy a 2 to 3-year-old car, let someone else absorb the depreciation hit. You get essentially the same car, often still under warranty, for 30% to 40% less. That's free money you're leaving on the table if you don't do this. I chose to be rich, not look rich. Here's the thing about America: everybody wants to look successful. Nobody wants to actually be successful, because being successful requires sacrifice, patience, and delayed gratification. Looking successful just requires a loan officer who'll say yes. I've lived in the same house in Omaha since 1958. I paid $31,500 for it. Could I afford a mansion? Obviously. Could I afford 10 mansions? Sure. But why? So people I don't even like can drive by and be impressed. I don't care what strangers think of my house. I care about what my bank account says. The middle class is obsessed with signaling. They buy cars they can't afford to impress neighbors they don't like. They finance furniture, vacations, boats. Then they hit 60 and realize they've got nothing saved, and they blame the economy, the government, their employer, everyone but themselves. I'll tell you what I did differently. Every time I wanted to buy something, I asked myself, would I rather own this thing or own a piece of a wonderful business that will pay me dividends for the next 30 years? 9 times out of 10, I chose the business. That's the difference between me and the guy who bought a boat. Practical takeaway: before you buy anything over $1,000, ask yourself, what is the opportunity cost of this purchase over 20 years? If you can't stomach the answer, don't buy it. People think I'm miserable because I don't spend money. That's ridiculous. I'm extremely happy. I do what I want when I want. The difference is I don't need things to be happy. I need freedom, and money buys freedom, but only if you keep it. Frugality isn't about being cheap. It's about directing your capital toward assets that grow instead of liabilities that decay. I don't feel deprived driving a modest car. I feel smart, because every dollar I didn't waste on a car payment, I put into businesses that doubled, tripled, and eventually made me billions. Practical takeaway: redefine wealth. Wealth isn't what you drive, it's what you own that nobody sees. Build the invisible portfolio, not the visible lifestyle. Let me bust a few myths you've been told. Myth 1: you need a new car for reliability. Wrong. Cars built in the last 10 years are incredibly reliable. A 3-year-old Toyota or Honda will run for another 10 years without major issues. You're not buying reliability with a new car. car, you're buying depreciation. Myth 2, a car payment is just part of life. No, it's not. It's a choice. I've never had a car payment in my life. I paid cash for used cars, kept them for 10 years, and invested the difference. That's how you build wealth. Car payments are part of life if you want to stay broke. Myth 3, I deserve something nice after working so hard. You deserve financial security more than you deserve a leather interior. If working hard meant you should buy things you can't afford, everyone with a job would be rich. They're not. Because deserve is just an excuse to spend money you haven't earned yet. Here's my framework. 4 steps. Write them down. 1. Stop financing depreciating assets. If it loses value, pay cash or don't buy it. If you can't pay cash, you can't afford it. 2. Buy used, keep it long, 2 to 3-year-old cars. Drive them for 10 plus years. Maintain them. Boring? Yes. Effective? Absolutely. 3. Invest the difference. Whatever you save by not buying new, invest it immediately. Index funds, dividend stocks, real estate, anything that grows. 4. Ignore your neighbors. Their opinion of your car doesn't pay your bills. Your investment account does. Look, I'm 94 years old. I've seen every financial mistake a human being can make, and I'll tell you this, the people who got rich weren't the smartest. They weren't the luckiest. They were the most disciplined. They understood that wealth is built by saying no to things that feel good today, so you can say yes to freedom tomorrow. You can keep financing cars and wondering why you're broke at 65. Or you can do what I did, drive something modest, invest the difference, and actually retire with dignity. If you want more of my hard lessons,